classics. Let's go to the movies and share some popcorn, soda pop with our friends. Turn off our cell phones and get away. Night of Demos, John DeSando on the radio.
Well, Jordan, once again I had to call on you to help me out. I'm not a big fan, nor are you actually, of these superhero films.
Yeah, not an avid watcher of them. Appreciative of that they exist, but yeah, not in line on Thursday night midnight screenings every
And
release.
we're talking about the Marvels.
Yes.
Starring 3 women,
Yeah.
and I think that's its big draw.
It does seem to be that. Yeah, it's a sequel to Captain Marvel, Brie Larson as Captain Marvel, and then something I didn't realize until starting to watch the Marvels movie, and it felt like I feel like I missed something with this younger girl, and then looked it up and came to see there was a Miss Marvel TV show.
Yeah, right.
From Disney, which I didn't realize.
That was the Kamala character, right?
Yeah.
Iman Vellani.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, she's a star on TV. I wouldn't know her, and nor would I know Teyana Paris, who's Monica.
Yeah, I wasn't familiar with either of them. Was really excited by both for sure. Really liked, the girl who plays Miss Marvel. She was a really fun breath of fresh air.
Oh yeah,
throughout the movie, and added a fun, not overly kiddie, but just younger excitement and energy.
Yes, and
that I think really did the movie well.
and kind of a nice commentary on the fan business.
Yes, for sure. That's a good point. Yes, yeah. It's the hardcore fandom, and really she gets to live every kid's dream that is obsessed with a comic book character. It really could be anything. A movie athlete, a sports athlete, a sports star, a movie star.
Yeah.
Just the idea that you get to be with the person that you idolize. For me, if I got to be out there all of a sudden on Michael Jordan's basketball team, it would be that's kind of the equivalent of what she's getting to do.
Well, just in case somebody just cut in now to our show, no, we are not reviewing Priscilla.
Yeah.
Which is another young lady who got caught in the kind of adulation that you're talking about. And so and there's a motif in this that I thought was either good or bad, and I can't tell. It's the one where they exchange their identities, the one where they can become the other person.
Oh yeah, it's almost like it's getting into what seems like, and again, I know we're both fringe superhero people, but it seems like this whole metaverse kind of thing seems to be something that's going on with these movies, and it kind of plays into that without being exactly that, but yeah, they transport back and forth when they use their power.
Yes, yeah.
Between each other.
Yeah, and I thought at least for me, it tended to be just slightly confusing.
It was, but they did it pretty well. Like where it kind of kept you guessing, and you almost felt like you were in it with them, trying to figure out, because they're super confused at first when it happens to them as well, and so you're kind of in the boat with them in that way, and as they go through their own version of a training montage, I guess you will, as they try to figure out how it works and get better with it.
Jordan, this movie on the first weekend pulled in $47 million.
Yeah,
and that's not good enough.
It's
for the Marvel universe.
Yeah, pretty far down there for them. Definitely the lowest they've ever had.
Because I think the Captain Marvel pulled in like 170 the first weekend,
and even that one wasn't lauded by a bunch of people.
Right. So it would appear there's trouble somewhere. And I'm trying to think, because I always enjoy them, and I enjoyed the screening that I had of the Marvels, but I wasn't overjoyed.
Mm-hmm.
I went out of it, I was feeling okay, because I particularly like Brie Larson.
Yeah.
But there was something in me that said that Brie Larson wasn't totally into her work here, and I was reminded that she's an Oscar winner.
Yeah.
For Room,
mm-hmm.
And how much, and she was a darling of the Indies, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Short Term 12 is a favorite.
You're right,
of mine.
yes,
Yeah,
thank you,
that
yeah.
kind of broke her into the big time as like a lead.
I mean, it was easy for me to go back once knowing that, to go back and see where she might not be fully into the role here. But I've also subsequently heard that she may not go back to this
Yeah.
role. And
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised by that. It does feel a little bit off, and yeah, I think you're right. There's probably a whole plethora of reasons that this movie struggled. The actor strike is definitely a thing. They didn't get
Yes.
to promote the film
Yeah.
directly as actors and stuff for
Yeah.
a long time before leading up. There's definitely the superhero fatigue that seems to be
Right.
hanging over certain things, and Marvel in general, it seems like is trying to kind of figure out their path forward when it comes to both like the incorporation of TV, like as I noted earlier, Miss Marvel was a show that I didn't even know existed.
Right.
And definitely, you can see the Marvels without it. You don't need it. I enjoyed the movie without it. But it, I'm sure, added a whole nother layer of context to a lot of things.
I think this is one case where it would be good for you to know those characters
Yeah.
before you went in. And
Mhm.
that's a mistake that filmmakers can make because they're torn between wanting to make it really fresh and bring in people who've never seen the TV show.
Yeah.
But if they're tying that in to those TV shows, that we're missing out as
Right.
an audience on something. And that's a danger, and I think that may have happened
Yeah.
in this case.
And people refer to it as superhero fatigue, but I really think it's just content fatigue as a whole. It's unless you are 100% all in, hardcore comic book movie person, you can't watch all this stuff. There's so much to keep up with.
Yeah.
And so it's just a lot to, sometimes you just want to go into a movie and not have to know anything and just enjoy it.
And when you get to something like the Kamala's ethnic family, I enjoyed that.
They were great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I enjoyed this movie in general.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's a fun, it is for, like, while it helps to know a little bit of stuff, saw Captain Marvel before it, but, so that helps for sure, but in general, it's a fun, I thought they did a good job with the casting in general. I thought everybody, sometimes that can get a little lazy, and I thought like you said, the family was really fun.
oh yeah, very nice.
And some just nice, even the people, I don't know, on the ship and stuff like that, as some of the things wrapped up, it was fun.
And I think when you juxtapose this with the best of Thor or Guardians of the Galaxy,
Mm-hmm.
is when you begin to see where it just doesn't measure up,
Sure.
even comedically,
Right.
because that's an essential part for me.
Yeah.
I have to have some laughs, or I'm just not going to be happy. And I thought those were much better when it comes to this.
Yeah, and it's a lot more star power as well, involved with those.
Yeah, that's
you have
right.
people who are largely proven talents, whereas
Yes.
we're talking here about a lot of people that we didn't really know beforehand and stuff, and that some of that connection lost can affect some of that as well. But yeah, I agree. It's definitely not in that realm.
And looking at the female side of this, where you have three female leads, unless those two are not strong, I think that's where they're vulnerable. And they're vulnerable in a horribly sexist way, that where males always make it through, or usually make it through, these females may not make it through because our culture is so oriented toward male superstars.
Mm-hmm.
They even had trouble, I can't believe it, with Wonder Woman.
Sure.
Making it a go, that Wonder Woman 1980, whatever it was.
1984, yeah.
Yeah, and Gal Gadot, and
Mhm.
how could he possibly have trouble with that?
Yeah,
And they didn't make right.
right.
So I don't know if there's still with a sexist attitude for people who come to the theater. Do you think that's possible?
I think it's possible. Yes, 100%. It's definitely
Okay.
possible. It's hard to say how much it affected this one. I think star power in general definitely affected it. And yeah, I think you're right that there's some probably some inherent sexist hesitation that goes into some of that, and that's too bad.
Yeah, and that, it's, while we're expunging that, we're getting so much better, but you can imagine how long it's taken us to get to that point where
Sure.
that wouldn't be a factor,
Yeah,
but that could be here, and I think also because of the writing and because, yeah, having 3 major characters leading your film and trying to pack that in, this is the shortest Marvel movie
Mhm.
ever, and trying to pack it into the less than 2 hours. Here I am asking for 3 hours when I'll complain to you at the drop of a hat about 3.5 hours of Martin Scorsese, although he deserves it.
sure. No.
Yeah, but
Yeah, it was a short one. That was, talk about a breath of fresh air, man. It's been a long time since I went to the movies for something that was less than 2 hours.
know.
And I loved that aspect for sure.
And I was reading someone whom I admire, and this was on the Roger Ebert website, and she was talking about the cheesy sets, which I hadn't picked up on, but
I thought the stuff on the ships was pretty. I was thinking about it a lot, actually, as I was watching. The stuff on the ships was like very generic, and I kept finding myself thinking about Star Wars, and 40, 50 years ago, and the detail that they put into some of even just an office room or a main room. I don't know. It was very, it was just like solid black, and this movie was like solid black with like some neon stripes and stuff. It was definitely, I agree with
I
that.
think that I remember reading her. One of the things that she listed was that there were boulders that looked like they were spray painted styrofoam.
Yeah.
It is-
Yeah.
It's like the Plan 9 from outer space.
Right.
You know,
Yes.
you don't come to this movie to enjoy it the
See
way
the hubcaps playing the spaceships and such. Yeah.
we don't do that, so it's really dismaying. Anyway, all right, Jordan Hanhillami. The movie is The Marvels.
Mhm.
It stars certainly one of my favorite young actresses, Brie Larson.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're here to tell people about it. What do you advise a family about this film?
I think this is a fun movie. I think it's a good time at the Cineplex, if you will.
Okay.
There's some backstory and stuff to know a little bit about, but at the same time, I think it's just a fun little ride, a fun little afternoon at the movies. Not winning any Oscars, but I think it's a good time.
I'm John DeSando.
Cinema, 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 cinema. Classics, let's go to the movies and share some popcorn, soda pop with our friends. Turn off our cell phones and get away. Night or day, it's John DeSando on the radio. We'll watch the credits from up high and low. Cinema classics on